Okay, my garden is planted, so everything has been repotted. So sometimes we make gardens fun and encourages other people, mainly younger people, to do like fairy gardens and that. We found these at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 each. I love Finding Nemo, so did a little thing like that. Makes things entertaining, keeps you young at heart. This beautiful rose was $29.94 from a nursery here in Wisconsin. So beautiful rose, transplanted yesterday. Bonnie pepper, sweet pepper, and then we've got, I always plant 2 tomato plants together in a pot. It's always worked. It's worked forever. I don't know if it would work for anyone else, but it works for me. I first started doing this when I needed them to hold each other up on a windy deck, before I had cages, or in my very, very early stage of gardening, almost 17 years ago now. So I still plant 2 together. They don't deprive each other of anything. They get constant fertilizer and worm casings, and they're happy. So I've got a Bonnie, I think it's just when you go into Walmart or Home Depot or whatever, I'll have the tags here in a minute in the video, but it's like a Bonnie Select or something like that. 2 of them and 2 of the Supersweet 100. So cherry tomatoes and then slicing tomatoes, small slicing tomatoes. We have a peony that we still have to transplant, and that's going to go down by the front door. Then a mandevilla. I have those every single year. Some strawberries. So we'll show you that. And I'll have the prices for my $65 garden. Some chard. Some oregano. Here's more oregano. I see there's one part of it that's after transplant. Sometimes you get a part that isn't happy. Here's a cucumber. So when he starts vining or trellising or whatever, crawling, he will be put out in the middle of the deck, and then he can do whatever he wants to do. We've grown cucumbers up here, squash, all of it. Then a fuchsia plant to attract the hummingbirds. So you might see heavy on the flowers. Yep, this year we are heavy on the flowers. I've grown lots and lots of vegetables. So I know how to grow everything on the porch. But most of what we eat, except for the chard, is in the grocery store. So I want to grow tomatoes because I love growing tomatoes. We are growing potatoes. But other than that, we're just growing herbs and flowers, tomatoes and greens. So this is to attract the hummingbird. That usually goes up on a hanger. It's early, so I haven't done that yet. A rose that's been potted up. That's an $8.94 Aldi special. That's going to be pink. Our potatoes are coming up. So that's great. Other roses. Bare root, $8.94, another pink, $8.94, another pink. Pink's my favorite color. And then we have some rosemary. We have lemon thyme, some more oregano. The lavender is actually going to flower here in not too long of a time. And I bought my husband's favorite plant for him for Father's Day early, and that's a New Guinea impatient. So that's not counted in my $65 price. And we do little ornamentals and stuff like that. I have a hydrangea in the house. They don't like hot temperatures right now, so we're forgoing that. But everything has been transplanted. I had a back episode, but after resting for an afternoon and that, we got right back to it. Because once you buy these things, they can't just sit in water or just sit someplace. You either plant them in the dirt as soon as you can so they can be out in the world, or you basically just forgo and write the cost off. So very happy this year with the garden. Like I said, heavy on flowers. This isn't a garden where we're growing things for our survival. I have done those gardens for the last 15 years. But we will get peppers, we will get tomatoes. I'll get plenty of herbs for all the cooking that I do. I'll enjoy the beautiful sights of the flowers. We'll have greens. After these, we'll go with spinach, then we'll go with lettuce. Hopefully we'll have a cucumber. I know we'll have some potatoes, and then we'll just have a lot of peace and happiness looking at this very nice garden this year, $65 and under. And this is what we do when there's going to be a storm coming. I go out on the deck and I move everything back. You don't want everything getting water soaked. I'm going to remove the boot trays. We keep them on so that when I water plants, the water and the dirt don't land on my neighbor below me on their patio or on their heads. So I do that just out of consideration and respect. I have a garden up here and I want to make sure that the area stays clean. I also don't compost or put manure on any of my plants because for obvious reasons, for pests or smells or whatever the case may be, that's not recommended in a community setting, in a small apartment community setting. So my plants get by just fine on liquid seaweed. So we had a rose over there that had a disease. Thankfully, she wasn't near any of the other roses, but I will post the disease in the show notes. She was removed. Done. I bought that from Aldi. My 2 roses down there from Walmart. Potatoes are coming up just fabulous. So they get moved back so they don't get waterlogged. And then these just stay by the front door and everything else is cleared out. Birds now eat down below. There's nothing but the hummingbird up here and we still haven't seen one. So everything just gets moved back, and then I'll insert a clip of where the flowers that are always lightweight that could blow around or seem to be suffering from heat exhaustion this year are spending the afternoon. But that's what you do. And then when the rain is done, we put the boot trays back under and we go on until the next rain. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kim. I hope you're all well. Tonight's video is all about my container garden. So it's a deck that's 3 feet by 8 feet that I've grown a container garden on for 16 years. So if you like this kind of video, hit the like button. I'll have a couple more videos as the season goes on. I'll show you as the garden matures, mid-season and towards the end of the season and then at the end of the season. And I'll show you all the harvest that I have. So I hope you're all well. Thanks for joining me here and I'll see you again. Okay, I'm going to try to make my garden plan clip short and sweet. So usually my budget is $65. This year I spent $87.04. My big problem was going to Menards. So just a history of when I started gardening. Actually, I've been gardening since I was probably 10 or 11 years old. Mainly just harvesting the family garden, which wasn't much of anything, and helping my grandma with all her flower gardens. So, and then I started, when I lived on my own and that, I always grew irises and tulips, anything, any type of bulb plant, peonies and such. And then when I got married, my husband and I lived in a double wide on a plot of land and a land contract, and I grew tomatoes, sweet corn, strawberries, and lots of flowers. So, and then I stopped gardening for a while, took a class at a local extension office, and got a certificate as a master gardener, and it was just a basic class. So I took 2 ag courses, one about soil and one about weather, and learned how to grow plants or learned how to make healthy soil, grow plants in healthy soil, and deal with drought and pests and adverse weather conditions. So that's really helped me immensely. I started gardening on this deck 16 years ago. It's a 3-foot by 8-foot deck, and my budget back then was just about basically zero. I was going to school. I didn't have a job at the time. It eventually got to 35 and then 65, and it was supposed to be 65 this year. Unfortunately, we made a trip to Menards, and that's where I kind of blew the budget up to $87.04. I ended up buying some marigolds, which I do buy every year, but normally they're cheaper than $3.86. I bought an ivy. I usually do buy decorative type stuff, but I could only buy one of those this year at $1.86 because the rest are too expensive. I always buy geraniums because I love the smell and look of them. And they do keep pests away. Anything that kind of smells like marigolds or geraniums do at $1.86 for each plant, and I bought some pansies for $1.86. I should have a clip in this video of those. Those are all orange, and those packs filled 4 pots, and they're by our front door. I wanted to get some perennials. I didn't expect that I would get them this year, but I did. There was a peony plant there for $4.86, 2 ranunculus for $5, and then my grandma used to grow lots of columbine, so I got a plant of that, which I've never seen before, for $2.86. So, yep, spent that. We did get some of that back in our 11% refund, or rebate, so we're happy about that. All of my roses died in the garage over winter. I'm not sure why. I'm still looking into that and testing the soil and trying to figure out, talking with other rose growers. I've never had aphids. I don't know if you're a rose grower, just know that aphids only grow or can become overwhelming to a rose bush in dead soil. So if you're not replenishing the soil, feeding the soil, fertilizing the plant, or taking care of the plant, you're going to get aphids. That's the number one reason. And I think that's the number one reason why I've never had aphids. The soil is new, it's freshened. Sometimes I put a form of compost tea, or I fertilize them with the seaweed, and I use worm casings all season. So nutrition wasn't the problem. Keeping them warm in the garage wasn't the problem. I just think that the stock from where I bought it from, which was Walmart, is the problem. I just think that they're a one-shot deal, and that's the end of it. If you bought roses from Walmart before and they're still growing now, let me know in the comments. So 2 roses were purchased. I did get a rose from a friend, so you'll see that in clips. And then I always grow 2 tomatoes together. That goes back to the old days when I needed them to support each other in the pot, and I still do it to this day, and I'm successful. I've never had any disease, and I've never had any pests in my garden in 16 years. Never had to buy anything to help my garden out in that way. The only problem that I ever had was I ordered roses from David Austin, and when I got them, they were full of disease. And I think they may have had aphids. I'm not really sure, but I cornered them off of quarantined them on a corner of the deck here, and I tried to treat them in that with neem and stuff, and they were just worthless. So I stopped buying roses from that particular outlet, and I haven't had an issue since. So I did buy 4 tomatoes, 2 in each pot, 2 Bonnie Originals, I think they're called, and 2 Supersweet 100, a small pot of oregano, and I thought that was all I was going to get, but then I saw a larger one at Home Depot, and I bought that too because I make pasta and pizza sauce out of it. 2 rosemary, I use that all winter long in soups and stews and roasted chickens. A pepper plant for $2.86. Always buy a mandevilla for the hummingbirds. Strawberry plant, which has already given me strawberries, for $4.86. A lavender plant, which is getting ready to flower. We bought some potatoes, and the potatoes are already up about 4 inches, I'd say, the greenery. Cucumber plant for $1.88, and some chard. We've already had 3 harvests off the chard at $2.88. From last year, we had a rose, which is now dyed, 100 pounds of dirt, fertilizer, and worm casing, so I didn't have to do any of that. And as far as at the end of the season, I take the containers, I ask friends if they want the soil. Once the plants are done and they say yay or nay, if they say yes, we load it up in bags, and I get, the soil just has worm casings in it. It's been watered. It doesn't have anything other than that. Sometimes it will have the seaweed, obviously, the fertilizer, but they love getting soil that has that in it. So I saw the fertilizers getting more and more expensive, so obviously there's either a shortage of it or more and more people are buying it, thus a shortage of it. So when I first started buying it, it was $7 or $8 on Amazon. I think it's up to $25, so that's pretty expensive. But I did buy 2 ahead, so I'm happy with that. 2 ahead at about $9. It lasts a long time. I think I've had this one bottle that I'm using for 2 years, so that's a long time, 2 or 3 years, and I've still got this season and part of next season left in it. So we were talking about 3 or 4 years for one bottle. So we give the dirt to friends, otherwise we fill in holes around this property, which isn't ours, but there are holes and ruts and ditches and whatever, and we fill it in and we plant grass seed and everybody's happy. So then the pots get washed out and they get stacked in the garage, and the deck gets swept off and it gets taken care of, cleaned up and stuff like that. And any soil that we can't get rid of or we can't use out in ruts and holes in the yard, we just keep that in the garage. Last year we kept 2 pots of it, and we use that again this year. Of course, we amend it right away before we put any plants or seeds in it. So currently I do have lots of plants on the porch that are, or on the deck that are already producing, and then we plant wildflowers down by the marsh that come up for the butterflies and different insects and birds throughout the season. And then in front of our front door, we also plant wildflowers and chives and pumpkins. So you can do, we've done all that for $87.04 this year. And probably it takes maybe, when it's first starting up, it's going to take you maybe 6 hours to get it together. Maybe a half an hour a day for maintenance, and a half an hour a day if there's not a lot of maintenance, then you take that half an hour and you water. So when you have a deck and you're on the second floor, we put, I think I showed in the video, we put boot trays underneath all the plants. When it rains, we take the boot trays out, and then we just let the water hit the plant and run through. It doesn't mess up our neighbor's patio or cause any water or dirt down on that at all, so it's a win-win for everybody. So that's my garden this year. I should have parts of showing it to you and touring it and clips, and if you want to see pictures of past gardens, I have all that up on my blog, and the link will be in the description.